excellence. Many of you have her bio in your program book. I'm not going to read it word for word because you can read it, and I'd rather hear her speak and provide us with wisdom on how we can do some of the things that she's been able to do and be successful in our career. But I'll just spend the time to give more of a personal statement about Teresa. Now, as you know, we've been doing CCWC for 7 years now. And Teresa, you talk about evolution. I've seen Teresa at this conference almost year after year after year, giving CCWC support, sitting on the panel, giving us information on what we need to do to advance our careers. That tells you a lot about someone who's in the role of a GC role. I mean, today she's in the role of GC at Darden Restaurants and corporate secretary. She's in that role too. But when she had other GC positions, she always would take the time to come to our conference and provide us with support. And what I found very, 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 very encouraging, last year when we went to Singapore, this is how committed she is. She jumped on a plane and flew to Singapore and supported our international symposium. So I think we can give her a round of applause for her level of commitment to our organization, Counsel Women of Color. She is an amazing person. If you don't know Teresa, you should make sure you meet her before you leave today. She's committed to her family. I want to recognize her family members who she brought with her today. Can you all please stand up? Teresa's husband, daughter, she brought her mother and her father, and the son. But I remember when Teresa received her position at Darden Restaurants. She's really into giving back. She's really into diversity. CCWC, we were contacted, and if you see our weekly listserv, they actually did recruiting for some positions at Darden, and they wanted to make sure, with Teresa's leadership, that they had a slate of diverse candidates. So again, that really says a lot about a person who, they don't just get this big job and they forget about everyone else. It says a lot when people, they get in that big job and they remember and they reach out and they help and they mentor like Teresa is doing. So I'm not going to stop talking because I've been talking since 7:45. Let's stand up and give a round of applause to Teresa Sebastian as she makes her way to the stage.
I don't know what to say. That's, Laurie, you're unbelievable. All right. CCWC members, Laurie, all I know is I want to be this lady, even though I'm older than her, I'll say it. When I grow up, I want to be her. But first, I want to thank all of you for this Diamond Award and speaking with a lot of candor, vulnerability. It feels really odd getting this award simply because I love what I do. I love being a lawyer. I love being a business person. I love socializing with everyone. So this just really feels odd, a little bit out of character for me. But again, I want to thank you. I want to thank Laurie. I want to thank my unbelievable family. I want to thank my team members over there and everyone that has supported and put up with me. I'm not always the easiest person, but you can't do what you do, and I can't get where I am today without the support of all of you and my family and my team. So what I'd like to do is just everyone give an applause for each other, and especially for Laurie for putting this wonderful event on. So when I was talking with Laurie about doing the speech, she indicated that some of you may wonder how I got to where I am right now and what was the roadmap. And really, as I indicated earlier, it starts with passion, and it also requires having a purpose. And you have to ask yourself, what gets you excited about waking up and going to the office to work? What builds your adrenaline during the day so that you're not watching the clock and wondering when it's time to go home? What type of work makes it so that you can actually and periodically say that you're having fun, that you can laugh with the people that you're working with? And also, as lawyers, we spend way too many hours doing what we do every single day without actually having a passion for it. And beyond the passion, you've got to know that being a lawyer is a part of your purpose. As multifaceted beings, everything we do and everything we touch leaves an intangible imprint on others. Because by the nature of our practice, law impacts people's lives. You've got to know when you're practicing law that you're pursuing a real purpose. You want to make a difference for someone, whether it is impacting or helping them maintain their freedom, whether it's impacting or helping them with a financial situation, or whether it's impacting or affecting the status of their family life. So you've got to really know that being a lawyer is your purpose and your passion. We have the ability to fundamentally change a person's life and how they see the world and how the world sees them. Our job leaves an imprint on others, so you've got to know that practicing law is your spiritual purpose, and that more times than not, you're going to leave people better off than you have personally found them. My purpose is to leave a positive imprint and to be a positive influence. And I'll talk a little bit more about purposeful influence. So with a passion and a purpose for me, the rest just came by setting professional goals. Before I became a lawyer, I was a business person. I spent 10 years in a business career in finance. And while as a finance person, I worked on securities offerings. And I had an attorney, a corporate secretary, as a client. And I looked at her, and I looked at how much fervor she used when she went about her job. And I also admired the fact that she had a direct influence on the business direction. And I wanted to know how to get there, but I wasn't sure how to do it, other than by climbing one rung of the ladder at a time. So I had 4 learnings along the way. And these are the things that I really want to leave and share with you. So number 1, don't leave it up to your lawyer, or your employer, to define your development. Let them be a facilitator of your path. A couple of years after becoming a lawyer, I drafted a memo to my general counsel because I knew I wanted to go further in my career. I explained to him that at some point I wanted to become a general counsel, and I designed a path. And a part of that path, I wanted to get my master's in law and corporate and finance law. So he looked at it, he said, thank you for coming to me, and thank you for putting this memo together, and thank you for really putting a lot of effort into this, but I'm sorry, I can't help you with this. So I thought about it and I said, okay, maybe this isn't the company for me. So I decided to look for another job, got another employer, went to that employer, told them what I wanted to do. During the interview, they hired me, they paid for my LLM, and they made me an assistant general counsel. So, number 2. Number 2, there's no such thing as being too ambitious. Ask for what you want, but also be prepared for no. To enhance my chances of becoming a general counsel, I knew I needed experience and exposure to the board of directors, a little bit more than I had. Fortuitously, during my tenure there, the corporate secretary retired. I spent all night sitting up in my office, putting together kind of a pitch and a little bit of proposal why I should be the one to step into that job. And I talked with the head of HR, and I talked with my boss, who was the general counsel. I was told no. And they went and they put somebody else into that position. Well, I wasn't discouraged by that, so I said, okay, maybe what I'll do is I'll design a job for myself. So I designed the job of Chief Compliance Officer for the company, because at that time, the sentencing guidelines that came out with, they had all the little check the boxes for having a compliance function. So I went about organizing that. I pitched it to the board of directors and to the executive team, and everybody said, yes, go do it. I did it. And then I said, and by the way, I want to be the chief compliance officer. I was told no. But I was told that I could be the lawyer that helps support the chief compliance officer. All right, so that still didn't discourage me. So I have been identified as one of those high potential people and sent to all these wonderful leadership training opportunities. And so I said, okay, I have so many years as a business person before becoming a lawyer, so instead of staying in the law department, I'll go into a P&L function. And I proposed that to my general counsel, and he said, you know what, you've got to stop being so ambitious. So light bulbs came on, and I said, okay, time for plan B. So that leads to learning number 3. Be open to coaches and informal mentors. You had a lot of people on the panels today talking about there are people out there to support you, you need a team around you. They were spot on, they were right. And these individuals may or may not have a stake in your success. Some people have different motivations for supporting you. Some just want to be there because, as one of the speakers says, they like you. Some people want to motivate you because maybe they're within an organization and they feel a sense of obligation. Whatever the motivation is, be open to that.